What makes a crime truly punishable? Is it the law, or the mind itself? Welcome to World Lit by Merveille, where we dive into the greatest stories ever written. In today's episode, we unravel one of the most gripping psychological dramas in literature, Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoyevsky. A man commits a crime, but his real punishment begins in his own mind. Let's explore the depths of guilt, morality, and redemption. But is redemption truly possible for a man like Raskolnikov? Let's find out. In the dark, narrow streets of St. Petersburg, we meet Rodion Raskolnikov, a former student fallen into the depths of poverty. His mind is as fractured as his life, filled with grand ideas and desperate dreams. But there's one belief that drives him, a dangerous, radical theory. Raskolnikov believes that certain extraordinary individuals are above the law. People like Napoleon, he thinks, can kill for a greater purpose, without consequence. And so, he justifies it, his plan to murder an old pawnbroker, Alyona Ivanovna. He tells himself it's for the greater good, to use her money to better his own miserable life. The crime is almost secondary to his warped idea of justice. The question is not should I, but can I? Can he rise above the mundane moral laws that govern the rest of us? Raskolnikov's mind races, his thoughts spinning out of control. He convinces himself this is the only way out. On the fateful day, the deed is done. Raskolnikov, trembling with fear, enters the pawnshop. The old woman, Alyona, sits unsuspecting, unaware of the dark fate that awaits her. He raises the axe. The first strike is swift, but not without hesitation. But then, something unexpected happens. Alyona's sister, Lizaveta, enters the room, an innocent bystander. Now Raskolnikov is forced to kill again, in cold blood. The act, once rationalized in his mind, becomes a nightmare he can't escape. His world shatters in that moment, and for the first time, he realizes the true cost of his ambition. The crime is done. But the guilt? That's a much heavier burden. As Raskolnikov tries to shake off the horrors of the murder, a shadow lurks ever closer. Enter Detective Porfiry Petrovich, a man of sharp wit and keen intuition. Porfiry suspects Raskolnikov, and he knows something is off. But instead of confronting him directly, he plays a dangerous game of psychological warfare. Porfiry is no fool. He knows the telltale signs of guilt, small, subtle things that reveal more than words ever could. With each encounter, he pushes Raskolnikov closer to the edge. Guilt, after all, is a heavy burden, and no matter how much you try to deny it, it will always come crashing down. The detective's clever tactics leave Raskolnikov on edge, and it isn't long before his facade begins to crack. What is he running from? Can he outrun his conscience? Or will it catch up with him before he even realizes it? In the midst of his spiraling descent, Raskolnikov meets Sonia, a woman whose purity and faith shine in the darkest of times. Sonia is a symbol of compassion, a woman who has suffered greatly but remains steadfast in her belief in the goodness of others. She becomes Raskolnikov's anchor in a world that seems to be spinning out of control. Despite the darkness that surrounds him, Sonia offers him a glimmer of hope. But it's not just her kindness that makes her important, she represents the very concept of redemption. She urges him, pleads with him to confess, to surrender to the truth. Only through suffering, she believes, can he be truly free. Her words strike a chord with Raskolnikov. She tells him, you must suffer, Rodion. Only then can you be free. But can he truly let go of the pride that's kept him in the shadows for so long? Eventually, the weight becomes unbearable. Raskolnikov's guilt eats away at him, and the pressure mounts. He can no longer escape the truth. His mind, once so sure of his righteousness, begins to crumble. In the end, he confesses. He surrenders himself to the authorities. The path he feared, the punishment he knew he deserved, becomes his only way to salvation. His crime has cost him everything. But in that act of confession, something else begins to change within him. Siberia awaits him, but so does redemption. For in the cold, remote prison, surrounded by nothing but his thoughts, Raskolnikov begins the long road to spiritual rebirth. It is here, in the silence of his punishment, that he finally starts to confront his true self. Crime and Punishment is not just a story of a man who committed a crime. It is a journey into the heart of moral struggle, guilt, and ultimately, redemption. Raskolnikov's path is not an easy one. But it is through his suffering, his acceptance of his guilt, that he can begin to transform. Justice isn't just about laws, it's about the soul. In the end, Raskolnikov wasn't sentenced by the court, he was sentenced by his own conscience. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into the world's greatest books with Worldlit by Merve. Next up, we're exploring another literary masterpiece. Can you guess what it is? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep reading, keep questioning, and stay curious.